night straight through tomorrow. Burning up blacktop, kicking up dust. No matter where I go, no matter what I do, I'll never outrun that cracked review. See your hair in the wind, feet on the dash. Sipping sangria from a styrofoam cup. Tiny tank top about to make me crash. Singing every day's last dance, lighting it up. Nothing but memories on every lane. You can't find love on this highway. If I cross that bridge, I'll burn it down before I lose you, girl. Better turn this truck around.
Yeah. That was RHETT Haney with Turn This Truck Around. You want to tell us a story about that song, Brett?
Well, it's not really a story behind it. I can tell you kind of the idea of it is it's kind of a, if I don't change my ways, turn this truck around, I'm going to lose the girl. So that's kind of the idea. Going to leave her in the rear view, and we don't want that ever to happen. Well, I don't want to say don't want that to ever happen, but if you don't want to lose the girl, you better turn that truck around, type of deal.
For sure. It's kind of like a lot. It's hard when your emotions are attached to things to just in the moment, maybe take a moment to respond instead of react. So many people with the here and now and the Jones effect that they have of, oh, I want what they have. It's done a number on society for sure. We need songs like that to remind us, hey, like it's can be okay. You just got to take a second and just control your thoughts.
Gotta stay away from that knee-jerk reaction stuff for sure.
Yeah, it's so crazy how we went from a time where they were like, suck it up, you can't have feelings, to feel everything in the sun. Like,
yeah,
it's definitely. How long have you been performing and writing songs?
So we've been this particular iteration. I've got a long, sordid history, but I've been a lead singer for a little over 3 years. Before that, I was just background vocals. I played drums for 15 years. Before that, I played bass in various different bands. Rhythm guitar, always singing backups. But then during COVID, I just decided, let's see what this lead singing thing turns into, and it seems to be doing really well. So I went out to just a little over a year ago, or actually it's just almost exactly a year ago, I went out to Nashville and recorded these 8 originals I've been releasing as singles ever since. We got 3 left. I'm in talks with the writers there to put together some more songs coming up here pretty soon. I should be I might not go out there this time to record, or maybe I will. It just all kind of depends. But
so are you writing your own songs, or do you have other writers writing for you and you're doing the vocals on it?
Kind of both. This particular song, and most of the ones I've been releasing recently actually were written by cats out in Nashville. I've got a couple of songs that I've written. One of them's called Whiskey and White Claws. We have yet to record it. It's it's the difference sort of between high class and white trash, Whiskey and White Claws. It was co-written by a guy in Denver here named Orly Wooldridge, really cool guy. But yeah, so I do a little bit of writing, but most of these here are Nashville cats who wrote them.
Nice. So you've only been performing and singing for about a year, you said?
3 years. 3 years. Yeah.
Do you play any instruments?
I play bass, actually. Yeah. That's what it's kind of a strange thing in a country band, but to have the lead guy playing bass, but I sing and play bass. So.
Oh, I bet you it helps you stick out and gets people talking. It's great advertising.
I think a lot of it people look at it, it doesn't fit the normal sort of look. Like you always have a guy in front playing acoustic in country music. I've even thought about, just playing my acoustic bass, but it seems to be working fine. I mean, a lot of people are digging the look and stuff. So
Goodness.
There we go. You're
All
back.
right.
I
am.
was
You are
backstage
too.
for a minute.
Yes. My laptop is like the most sensitive thing. I think it's more sensitive than I am, honestly. So how many people do you have in the band that you have with the RHETT Haney under that
So
name?
right now there's myself, obviously, and then on lead guitar, backup vocals, Brett Walston. I've been working with him for long time, 15, 20 years. We've been working together. And just various different projects. And then on drums, we have Matt Feldman. He also sings backup vocals. And that's the setup right now. We're bringing a fiddle player up to speed. We had another one, but she's moving out to Nashville here shortly. Her name is Z. She's kick-ass. The new one probably coming on. Her name's Laura. We're just bringing her up to speed before we start performing with her. But I think that'll give a whole new element, a whole new feel to the band, you know? Should be pretty cool.
It definitely does. It definitely does. I know that when Coffee Anderson plays that Mr. Red, White, and Blue, and they bust out that fiddle for that segment of it, like it'll make you stop. Like I don't remember what I was doing, but I was walking around the casino or something, and I was like, wait a minute, I gotta go figure out what's going on outside.
Yeah, fiddle will jump out at you, that's for sure.
That's awesome, and it can be used in different ways too. Like the different ways that can be used, it really can be a really cool instrument to have as a part of your band. We were joking. I think it was Rick McNeely and I. We were talking, and we were like, we need to get some saxophone players in country music and see what that would do. Like, get some improv jams going on.
That'd be interesting. That would be interesting for sure.
Put some soul back in there.
I can't think of a reason why it wouldn't work. I don't know. Maybe I'll try something like that.
Right. Well, we do a lot of like, just inspiring artists and collaborating and doing stuff like that. I did a bar rescue when I became a COVID transplant. So COVID changed my life too. I became a Texas resident due to COVID. I was down here, right? I was down here with 2 suitcases or 2 kids and 3 suitcases. And, the world just said, hey, we're going to stop everything right here. You can't go anywhere. And I was like, I mean, the weather's better in Texas. And then when they lifted all the bans, all that rioting and stuff with the George Floyd thing was going on back in Illinois. And there were like literally people driving their cars into the front of Walmart, loading them up and leaving. And the cops were just like, okay, they didn't burn the building down. It was that chaotic. I was like, yeah, I think it might be safer in Texas too. So we just stayed, and it's crazy. Do you travel a lot? Have you had the opportunity to travel a lot with your band?
We do quite a bit. We're still working on breaking into Texas, honestly. We're down into Santa Fe, New Mexico. In fact, not this weekend, but the following weekend, we'll be in Arizona at Lake Havasu for Memorial Day weekend. That's going to be crazy house. Should be a good time. But we also play Nebraska, Wyoming, all around Colorado. So yeah, kind of we call it the I-25 corridor.
Right, like a track.
Yep.
Kind of the Midwest of the West chunk of the area.
Exactly. Yep.
I so many people, like especially the type of people that are like the small-minded, and they think that they understand life and the world and everything, that have not gotten out of the city that they live in ever in their lives more than maybe a 3-hour radius. I can definitely say that as myself traveling on the road, being able to experience, because when you travel, like the people that you're used to, the way that they respond to your behavior is not the same here as it would be in Tennessee, and
Oh, for sure.
or even Oklahoma or Missouri, or every area has its own dialect, even in some parts.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And it's such a growing opportunity to be able to travel, especially as a musician, and get to, pick the brains of the artists that are in these other locations and be able to, put that into what you're doing.
What we've found is really interesting is I would have never suspected this. I mean, I played around Denver a lot with all these other bands and some of the big honky tonks. The Grizzly Rose up here is a really big one. And you just kind of get used to the dancing style, I guess you could say. And then we go to other areas, and I don't know where it seems like there's a line of demarcation where things switch. I don't know where that is, whether it's in the middle of the desert, the middle of the mountains, I don't know. But all of a sudden you pass this line and everybody does this particular dance totally differently. And it's like, wow, that's really interesting to see all that. And then the other cool thing about traveling is just the different sort of landscapes that we go through. Recently, we were on our way down to Santa Fe, and it starts to get pretty arid and deserty down there. And we were joking, we're like, it's not really scorched earth, but it's more chapped earth. So,
I remember
hanging out in an area like that.
Yeah, I remember going my first ever trip to Texas. We drove. I had me and a whole crew, and we went out to San Angelo, Texas, and like just the state of Texas. It's kind of like its own like geography. Like it has its own, like it has the hilly, woody area. It has the dry red clay area. And then San Angelo is literally the land of the tumbleweeds. The mesquite trees out there don't get over like 4 foot tall. And
Wow.
it is like desert for sure. Like is what you think of as desert. I remember going to a boat show, and I got so excited that I had a front row parking spot because this place was packed. I was like, man, I knew if I drive around, I'd get lucky. What laboring under correct knowledge is luck. You keep doing the right things and you're going to get lucky. That is what luck is. But this did not end up being the right thing because over there, like it's dirt and then it's dirt on top of dirt. So I didn't think anything about the discoloration in the pile of dirt that was outside of my car when I stepped into it. And it was massive. It was about 2 foot big. And it was those military ants that bite. Oh, no. And I didn't even know. I'm like 4 car lengths down, and I'm like, what the heck was that? And then I smack my leg, and I see my leg, and I'm like, oh, there's about to be a lot more of that. And I just started looking like I was one of those people on Flocka, like just attacking my legs. Like there was people attacking my legs. I'm like, get all these ants off. I would have probably
been doing the same thing.
There was only one of them got me, but it left a mark the size of a quarter that stung for a good 8 hours and raised up. And I was like, everything is bigger in Texas. Those ants are brutal.
Even the wounds.
Thankfully, I haven't ran any. Right? Thankfully, I haven't ran into any of those kind of ants over here where we're staying at now. But there are definitely fire ants. But I mean, that's the same as Florida. What would you say out of your music list? Because it looks like you have quite a decent amount of songs up here on your Spotify. Other than Turn This Truck Around, what would you say is one of your favorite songs out of this list?
So real quick bit of history of how I put this all together. There's 2 full albums of covers on there. And I was just, I needed something to do at home, and I was kind of bored on my nights off. So this was years ago, like 2019. And I thought, well, I'll just start recording some covers, and they were coming together really well. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll, distribute them and blah, blah, blah. And that all worked out. So I'm pretty sure on the first one, there's a song called Driving My Life Away. It's an old Eddie Rabbit tune. We kind of did it in the Rhett Akins style, a little heavier, a little more aggressive. It's pretty cool. I think you guys would like it. And then here's a really cool story. We play up in at a place in Jackson, Wyoming called the $1 Million Cowboy Bar. And, you know, I started playing there with other bands years ago, and then I was able to get my band into there once we got it started. And it was probably our second time there, and this Australian sounding woman comes up to me and she's like, "Are you Rhett?" I says, "Yeah." She says, "Yeah, so you know, my daughter here, her name is Cheyenne," and she was probably, I don't know, 21, 22, pretty young. And I was like, "Oh, nice to meet you." And she's like, "So we came here to see you perform the song I Can Still Make Cheyenne because we've been listening to it and we really like it. It's the, you know, the cover of George Strait's I Can Still Make Cheyenne." I was like, "Oh, well, thanks for coming and stuff." But then she told me where they came from. She's like, "Yeah, we had my husband fly us out here from Dubai to see you guys because we found out you were playing here." And I'm like, "Are you serious? You made your husband fly you all the way here from Dubai to watch us do I Can Still Make Cheyenne?" It was really cool. It was an honor to play that song that night. I was a little more nervous, but you know, we still pulled it off. So
Right. I mean, that's
that
you
bar
like
has been
took
a
a
lot of
quick
fun.
trip.
Yeah, that bar's been a lot of fun. In fact, speaking of 2019, Brett, my guitar player, and myself, we were there with another band called Walker Williams Band, and it was the end of a 9-night run. We were all of us just super tired, wiped out. It was a Tuesday night. There was a rodeo in town, so the place was packed front to back. And this big tall guy comes up to the stage, and he's just standing there holding his beer. And you know, and I've learned this as a lead singer, you try not to engage. As soon as you make eye contact with that person, you have to engage with them. You have to talk to them. If you're in the middle of a song, sometimes they don't care. They try to talk to you while you're singing, and it just so my singer at the time, Walker, you know, he just wouldn't look at the guy. And finally the guy stepped up onto the stage, walked behind Walker, and went over to Brett and said, "Hey, is he gonna let me sing?" And at this point, Brett had figured out what was going on. And he said, "Man, he doesn't know who you are." And the guy leaned down and he says, What do you mean he doesn't know who the F I am?" And then he walked over to Walker and he leaned over him and he said, "Hey, you like this song?" And finally, Walker had to engage, and he looked up at him and he realized, holy crap, this is Toby Keith standing next to me. So it was Toby Keith, and we were in the middle of doing the song "Should Have Been a Cowboy." That's why he got up there. And so by all means, sir, yes, finish your song. So he did that, and then we did a couple more songs together. We did "The Chair" by George Strait, which was a super special moment because people were taking pictures and videos, and I'm back there playing drums, you know, shooting video the whole time, going Def Leppard style, one arm. And yeah, it was a pretty special moment for sure. It was very shortly before he got sick, and we all know the outcome from that. So
Right. Yeah, that it's awesome to have opportunities like that, and then have I've seen a couple of videos like down in Key West where artists are playing covers and celebrities hear their song getting played and they go in and they're like, "Wait, look, let me jump on the mic with you, boy."
yeah,
It's
I guess
pretty
Toby was pretty
awesome.
well known for doing that. He did that quite a bit. I did when it was all said and done, I had actually hit record on a multi-track recorder during it. So I was able to mix it down really good, make it sound good, and then put all the video and photos and stuff together into a nice little video. If you go to walkerwilliams.com, it's right on the front page. Go check it out. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It gained a lot more popularity after he passed away, that's for sure.
Right. Let's add that on there really quick. Maybe. Yes.
That's assuming the website's working.
Oh goodness. Yeah, I have it's the journey of entertainment is definitely a grind. And it's the little things and being consistent in the little things. And you know, when you're out and you're gigging live, a lot of times that website is not not at the forefront of your mind. I explain to people all the time that really a lot of artists, and in your case, it's a little bit differently, but a lot of our like singer songwriters, like there's so much expected of them, and they didn't go into their passion to make it a business. They went in their passion to share their stories and attempt to help others relate, in a way that would help them heal. And there's so much. I know that we had a brief conversation, and you sound like a business guy, and you kind of have an encompassing of what is going to be expected out of this mission. And there's so many venues that just don't understand like what it takes to even be an artist to start with. And especially when you are singing stuff that you wrote, that you experienced in your life. And then still being able to support that and understand that, hey, their job is to go play the music, not make sure everybody in the place is happy, because a lot of that falls on the staff. And it's just so easy to point blame in today's world. What would
I definitely make sure that we put a lot of, my whole musical career, I put a lot of emphasis in making sure, whether it's originals or covers, that live it's played right, it's done properly and everything's done the way it's supposed to be done. And because of that, the first thing with this band that we did is we made sure that everything was being played right. But then where do you go from there? I thought, well, let's start adding some visual elements to the stage. So now we have video monitors with us on stage. Our light show is totally synced up to every single second of every song. We try to go that extra mile to make sure that people have a good time at our shows. And then, of course, the bars and clubs and venues and honky tonks, they all really appreciate it when you get the crowd drinking, because they make more money. And so, you'll notice a lot of the songs we do are about drinking. A lot of the originals are about drinking, partying, just having a good time. And, and the other big thing to me is to make absolutely sure that everything we do is dancey. We want to keep people dancing, because if they dance, they drink. So, and all of that put together seems to be it's a pretty good formula. It's getting people to the shows. They're having a lot of fun and a lot of return customers, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And they definitely are gonna eat up that song about White Claw and whiskey for sure. I mean, I could just tell that it was definitely gonna be a party song as soon as you said the title. There are a lot of really awesome venues down here. I'll put you in contact with a couple of them, but I do want to thank you for taking time out. Is there any other information that you would like to share? I know we have your RHETT Haney, REHTTANEY.com. If you're a venue in Texas, or if you enjoy a great party style cover band, you can look that information up and send that to a venue that you go to, and get this band down here into the Texas area, playing some of these covers. And do you guys have original music at all?
Yeah, I mean,
like other than the cover,
all of the stuff that I did in Nashville, that's all considered original. I have another one that I'm trying to put together, but it's I haven't completed. I actually have two completely different stories in this lyrically in this song. It's called Watered Down Whiskey, and the idea came to me. Oftentimes, I swear, maybe this is conspiracy theory, but I swear a lot of bars behind the bar have a special bottle of whiskey that's watered down that they give to the band members. They don't want the band getting all trashed. I get it. But sometimes I'll take a shot of whiskey and I'm just like, wow, that was horrible. That didn't taste like whiskey at all. And so I started thinking, how could I make that into a song? And one of the stories or lyrical ideas I put together was about that, the bars watering down the whiskey. But the other one is about, it's a kind of a, I don't know, breakup love story or whatever, where the girl keeps giving me her watered down whiskey. She's not being true. She's not being faithful. She's given me is that watered down whiskey. And then of course, for the last verse, it's, I kind of turn the tables and I end up giving her the watered down whiskey. And so that's another one. I got to decide which lyrics I want to use for it and then record it. It'll be a waltz, but it'll be a dancer. So it'll be a good one. We'll keep an eye out for that.
Heck yeah. Well, what's the title of that? The watered down whiskey?
Just watered down whiskey. Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
you know, but this whole thing talking about, what did I put? There was a thing, I was doing a promotion for this yesterday, and I said that'd be a great country song. And of course now I can't remember it since I'm putting myself on the spot, but it was something about down in Texas. I don't know. I don't know. Look through my socials and you'll find it at RHETT HANEY or at RHETT Musician and on all the socials. You'll find me and we'll be able to hit me up and we'll talk and we'll do some stuff down in Texas. I'd love to get down in there. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for stopping by and for supporting Texas Brew Radio. And we hope that you get seen by a couple of venues and you can come down and maybe join us for some of our shows sometime we're doing a community events over in the stockyards, trying to promote back original music. I know all of our venues, a lot of them stick to cover artists, and we do our part to help support artists that support us and support artists that are breeding original music, because stories tell and stories heal. But like the stuff that you're doing, like there still does need to be people seeing covers and keeping these legends alive, and connecting with those people. And I completely support that. I have like one of my favorite bands in town is a cover band, and it's just that their playlist goes from one smash hit to another.
Nice.
And it's absolutely insane. Do you guys do a lot? Do you guys have like a set playlist, or do you find yourself doing a lot of like song requests from clients?
We move around a little bit. Basically what I tell people if they ask for a song, if I know it, if we, if it's in our list, I'll say, yeah, we might be able to pull that off. But if we don't know it, I just tell them, well, we don't know that song, but we have another one with a lot of the same notes in it. So that always goes over. And then
right.
But one thing that I wanted to do with this band is kind of every now and then sort of shock the audience. And so, like for instance, Here for a Good Time by George Strait. Right when we get done with that song, we drop to E and everyone's looking at us like, what are they doing? And then we go into Just What I Needed by the Cars. So, but it's kind of a country version, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And then another song that we do is Somebody's Baby by Jackson Browne. Not a lot of people are expecting that. All the 80s ladies always rush to the dance floor when they hear these 80s songs being played. We do some ZZ Top stuff, but for the most part, we keep it, as country as we can. We don't get a lot of requests. I think that's a good sign because people are satisfied with what they're hearing, But every now and then somebody will come up. That was our wedding song, and if we know it, we'll absolutely play it. I'll just move it into the set,
Right. I know one good tip, because a lot of people do like that. And I know that you, if you're open for that, I have artists that what they'll do is they'll make a menu of all the songs that they know. And then have that menu printed and available on the table that says drop a tip and a note that says what song, and we'll play it. Because then you have a list of all the songs you already know. And if there's one on there that they want to hear, then it's not that awkward explaining of, oh, I'm going to dissatisfy you. Like it completely eliminates that, and then still gives them options as well.
I could even put together some sort of a thing where on the sheet it has all the songs. And then with a number, they can just text it. Obviously, I wouldn't give them my actual number, but I have a Google number that I use for business and stuff. I could have them text the songs there, and then it's my phone's always in my back pocket, and I know when a message comes.
Yeah, I mean, or your website could be set up to have the song list on your website and a virtual tip jar. So when they tip you, it automatically sends you an email with the song that they requested.
That's not a bad idea either. Yeah. Huh. I might look into that. That's a good idea. The only thing with us is that I've learned from past projects that having dead space between songs is a bad idea. Like, especially for dance, because people just, they lose it. They will clear the dance floor in 2 seconds if you're not making noise. And
Right.
and so
that's where the song list would come in handy, because they're not up there. You're not up there explaining to some guy that's drunk and trying to have your attention at the stage.
You know, I saw a video. You know who Amy Nelson is, Willie Nelson's daughter? This was years ago.
Yeah.
She was on stage somewhere, some small little place. And and I don't know if this was put together or not. It seemed pretty legit. But there's this old kind of raggedy looking, almost like a hippie looking guy. And he goes up to the front of the stage and he just grabs her set list. And he's sitting there looking at it. He's just kind of, you know, weaving and bobbing while he's looking at it. And then he walks away with it. And he's over in the corner just kind of looking at it, you know, and finally he comes back up and he's trying to get her attention, you know, and she's singing. And I think if I remember right, he then steps up on the stage and she freaking drop kicks him off the stage. I mean, he goes flying. Try to look that up sometime. I don't know if it was put together or not. It seemed pretty legit, but it was pretty funny. But yeah, there's so many ideas of ways to get tips from people for sure. You know, you can see see who can make a crumpled up dollar bill into the tip jar from a certain distance, you know, stuff like that. Another thing I like to do, this doesn't really, you know, help with tips or whatever, but one thing I like to do is every now and then in between, because I will stop and talk a little bit sometimes, like when Brett's got to switch to, when he's got to tune or switch guitars or whatever. And sometimes I'll say, okay, I want everybody in the place to yell out the name of a celebrity all at once, and they yell it out. And I can't, you know, it just sounds like garbled mess to me. So I'll just make something up in my head. I'll say, oh, I heard Lady Gaga or something. Okay, so now what I want you guys to do is during this next song, every time I replace a lyric with the words Lady Gaga, you have to take a drink. So, you know, the drinking games. And it's not too hard to put, you know, especially once you're on autopilot on a song. You know, you can change the lyrics. I like to do that quite a bit. Make funny stuff. You know, make.
I mean, that would definitely be a good way to get, you know, the customers drinking at the venue that you're performing at, if you can pull it off. I had an interview with Bradley Lindsley yesterday, and he was singing a song, and then at the end of it, he was like, Texas Brew Radio was part of it. He's like, I just switched up my song on Texas Brew Radio or something. It was funny.
Nice.
It was great. I was like, bro, you just like, wait, it was crazy because I was like, wait, did he just say Texas Brew Radio? Because it was so fluid. I was like, that was nuts. It was funny.
There's some places we play. I'm trying to think of the lyric and whatever song it is, but it's Friends in Low Places. At the Oasis, oh, I've got friends. Sometimes depending on, and this is the thing, while you're singing a song, you're trying to remember the name of the venue you're at, first of all. And if you can remember it, then you're trying to see if it'll fit in that little area. And then you have to do all of that while you're playing bass, singing, and trying to stay up with everything. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't work out so well. It's all about how many syllables, you know.
And they say we can't focus on more than one thing at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't know.
But really, the other ones, like you said, are in autopilot.
Yeah. I mean, some of the songs, like, geez, you know, recently Z was with us at a place up in Loveland, Colorado, and you know, one of the big songs we do with her is "The Devil Went Down to Georgia," and we started off. We have a backing track. We start off that it plays the. Are you familiar with Dio at all from the '80s? So there's a song that Dio did called "Holy Diver." And it has this really cool, kind of dark, scary, devilish sounding intro. And so we play that, and then we go into Devil Went Down to Georgia, and all the metalheads in the audience love it. They freak out. But we did that song, and on the way home, I'm thinking to myself, I couldn't remember if we had done that song or not. And I texted her, I said, did we do Devil tonight? She's like, yeah, absolutely. So, you know, when I speak of autopilot, I'm talking about songs where we've played them so many times that I don't even know if we played it that night. You know, I could go back and look at a set list or whatever, but you know, it's one of those things where you're playing the song and you're thinking, well, you know, what kind of laundry detergent am I going to use next time? Or, you know, when am I going to rewatch Game of Thrones or whatever? You know, there's so many other things that you think about once you go autopilot, you know. But that's a dangerous area to be, though, because if something goes wrong, you know, like, shit, am I in the first verse or the second verse? Where am I right now? You know, so.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And that's where traveling kind of comes in good too, because then it's somewhere new, it's somewhere fresh. It's not so much the Groundhog's Day of, oh, I'm playing this song for the 742.7th time.
Yep. Exactly. That's why we really like, you know, traveling and stuff, because I'm really excited about Lake Havasu, because we actually had 2 venues down there, one on Wednesday and Thursday night, and then another one on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Memorial Day weekend. So
Nice.
it's gonna be a crazy house down there.
And you said down in Arizona?
Yep, Lake Havasu. It's right at the tip of Nevada. So it's kind of where Nevada, Arizona, and California all sort of interconnect there.
Driving through Nevada, like, makes you, like, I would never drive through Nevada in an older car that I was unsure of its integrity.
Yeah,
because there is nothing there. There's nothing. And then there's fences for the nothing. And you're like, what's behind the, why do they need a fence for this nothing? Like, what is back there?
Straight out of a horror movie for sure. Yep.
The one town that we stopped at the gas station, and I'm like, okay, well, I haven't seen a human for miles. Like, if you broke down on the side of the road, you'd be sitting there for a while. And then all of a sudden, like 50 ATV, like motocross people just pull into the gas station. And I'm like, now I can't even move my car. Where the heck did all these people come from? And they're all like grabbing bottles of water and all this. And I'm like, are you guys having an event or something? And they're just like, oh, that's how we travel out here. And I'm like,
she's like Mad Max style.
Literally, like, I was like, okay. And then I think one of them like had forgotten their wallet or something. And I ended up buying their jug of water for them and was like, have a nice day. Like, thinking to myself, like, people live like this. Like, you got to take a dirt bike to the convenience store to get a bottle of water.
Totally.
It is definitely an off-road area. The only thing it doesn't have is the tumbleweeds. I didn't really see any out there. I was surprised because it's that kind of a area.
Yeah, right. Real dry. You know, I think we're going to be going down through Colorado and then New Mexico and then over through Arizona. So hopefully it'll be a little more populated.
Right?
Yeah,
I thought Nevada, I took my laptop.
We've done that Nevada trip though, and it's I used to with
it's
another band. We used to go out and play in Reno, and that was a long drive. This one's going to be 14 hours itself. Which
it's very very beautiful. If you like the look of death, it's very beautiful. It just reminds me of like what you would think. Like, it's just
the hills have
there's
eyes.
Nothing. It's all brown.
Yep.
And it's all brown. Like, it's all one color. It's like the monotone area of the
bunch of scorpions
USA.
And cactuses out there. Scorpions, cactuses, and rattlesnakes.
I know. I was like, they don't even have mesquite trees. There's just like no trees. Like, where how are they breathing?
You know, I'm not sure if it was
out here.
I'm not sure if it was New Mexico or Nevada, but when Howard Hughes was filming the movie The Conqueror, where he had John Wayne playing Genghis Khan, which is a horrible casting, but anyway, they went down and they shot in this deserty area that looked like ancient Mongolia, and then he had to film a bunch of stuff back in Hollywood, so he gathered up a bunch of the dirt from out there, and then set up the scene or whatever in Hollywood and did a bunch of shooting there. Well, it turns out I think the final count is like 58 people who were involved in the shooting of that movie ended up with cancer, including John Wayne. And it's because where they decided to shoot was where they had been doing nuclear bomb testing. And it was just downwind of it. So all of that radiation landed on the ground, and then they went out there and they were shooting this movie, and all these people, like, I mean, John Wayne got cancer from it, you know, and it ended up killing him. So yeah, pretty wild. That's very, very not many people down there. So I don't want to ever go that area and get broke down. That's for sure.
Right. That's all I could think of when we were driving through. I was just like, man, if something happens, are we just gonna like, you know, are the vultures gonna find us before the humans do, type thing? Like,
you got to stop every single time.
It's really pretty.
Yeah, every single time you have a gas station,
right?
Fill all the way up. Yep.
Yeah, because there's not another one for like another 100 miles at least or something. And there's nothing. It's not like, oh, there's not another gas station. It's like when you find the gas station is the oasis. And there isn't even anything else around the gas station. I don't know where these people live. I don't know where their grocery stores are. It's literally like a service center truck stop thing. Like, you got a gas station. That's what you got. And there's nothing else.
I wonder if Instacart delivers.
That's all you got for the next 100 miles.
I wonder if Instacart delivers
right?
groceries that far out. Man, it's hard to get an order.
I'm just like, I really didn't see anything. There wasn't. I don't recall even like fast food stops. I don't recall really seeing that. I know that we had stuff in the car anyway. We were eating MREs on the way out there. We were military bratting it up on our little road trip adventure. My friend had driven from New Jersey. She drove from New Jersey, picked me up in Illinois, and we went to Vegas. And we just drove the whole way. So that was my right. And then, well, she was an amazing, amazing individual. She was retired military. She was an MMA fight instructor, and bless her heart, she actually ended up losing her life helping someone on the side of the highway. Like, had gotten into a car accident and another car came by. But it was such a fun adventure. And it was like, I wasn't going to go. Like, I had been going out there every single year, and I was like, I'm just burnt out. I don't care. I don't want to go. And she's like, well, you haven't ever driven out there, so I'm picking you up. And I was like, oh, I hate my friends. Then we went, but I was glad that I went, because like it was so eye-opening to see how even nothing can still be pretty, you know. Like, it's really a beautiful, like, the hills and the foundations of the hills, and the fact that there's silence out there. There's like
you know, a lot of the stuff we do is late at night driving, where it's just blackout. And if there's no moon, you know, you can always pull over and check out some stars like you've never seen them, you know, when you're far enough away from the city. But you know, for us, it's just drive to get there. You know, there's no stopping and screwing around, you know. But
so you're out in Colorado now, right?
Yep.
How were the northern stars the other day when they were saying that we could see them all the way down in Florida? Were they pretty vivid? I
didn't even know that. I didn't even know it happened. I had no idea until the next day when everybody on Instagram, look what I got. I was like, well, that would have been cool to look at, but I'm sure it was cool, but I can't personally attest to it. I have no idea.
Right. I know. I was like, hey, this is happening. And then I just stayed inside because we live in the city anyway. Like, my house is kind of like, it's by an airport, and there's not really anything to the one direction. So I might have been able to catch something, but there's too much light pollution around where I'm at for me to have thought I would have had a chance at getting anything out of it. But I did see people from our area with their cameras. They got some pretty wicked pictures all the way down here in Texas of that.
I'm right in the middle of Denver too, so there's just all kinds of pollution, light pollution, sound pollution. I'm sure you've heard the sirens cruise by 3 or 4 times while we've been having this conversation. Super annoying.
Right? I thought that was going to happen the other day. My granddaughter woke up, and her mom doesn't really know how the baby language yet. So she was in there crying, and I was like, oh, I hope they can't hear this on my radio on the interview. It turned out that you couldn't, but I was like, man, it really sounds like she's struggling back there. That's going to be bad to have in the background. She's like right at that 1 year old where she can communicate, but not enough for everyone to understand. I had her for like a month straight. Yes. And it's mom's first baby. So it usually takes 2 or 3 before you learn how to like completely understand that the lack of communication.
Yep.
So
yeah, I can only imagine.
Well, I do want to thank you.
For little kids at that age not being able to communicate. You know, there's the cutest video I think I've probably ever seen is this mom just has her phone and it's pointed at her daughter, and she's like, "What do you want?" And the little girl says, "Blah blah blah." She's like, "What?" She says, "Blah blah blah blah." What do you want? She says, "Blah blah blah." She's like, "A strawberry?" She's like, "Yes." Like, she totally picked up on what she was saying. It's the cutest thing in the world. She's like, "You understood me." It's like she caught the very first time that her mom understood her on camera. It was really cool. Yeah, super cute.
Yeah, there was on my personal profile yesterday, my 14-year-old was singing to my granddaughter, and she's like, "We're doing 3 songs." And then she asked me, she's like, "What's that song you always sing?" And I was like listing off songs, and she's like, "No, it's something." And then it ended up being "Save Me" by Jelly Roll. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna video and see what her reaction is while we're singing it. So it was me and my 14-year-old singing it. And then all of a sudden the baby, like, I can't even remember what line it was now, but it sounded like a 3-year-old behind me talking. Like, she literally said the 3 words that I had just said. It was like, "Let me go," or something like that. And I was just like, whoa. And I just kept on singing. I was like, she said that clear as day, like a little parrot. I was like, I bet you she couldn't say that again to save her life. But it was so, I mean, I had to cut the song. I was like, I got to post that. That was trippy.
Yeah, that's very cool.
And then it's so awesome to be able to, like, I mean, obviously I've raised 3 kids now. I get it. And so to be able to watch her development, even on just a daily basis, because now she's looking out the window and wolfing like the dog, and she's not even 1 yet.
Nice.
And, you know, she's signing more, or like when she wants something to eat now she chomps her teeth. She becomes our little dinosaur, my little baby bird dinosaur. Chomp, chomp,
Nice.
chomp. And then I'm like, okay, but it works so much better than screaming. And people just don't understand, you know, like, and a lot of what I'm coming to realize is a lot of our problems as an adult actually stemmed from when we were babies, with that whole, oh, just let them cry themselves to sleep technique, because that teaches them that no one's going to be around when they need comfort. And so then they grow up with that mentality. I mean, I've seen it firsthand with my granddaughter. They didn't really have the best of relationships. And so she saw a lot of arguing. And then also, you know, she would, when they were frustrated, she would just be put in her bed and she'd have to figure out how to console herself. And I always thought it was just the weirdest thing that this baby would just lay around quiet all day. Like, she didn't, unless she needed something, you didn't know she existed. And I just always thought it was the weirdest thing. But to watch her, like, come out of that, because at first, whenever I would try to comfort her, she would literally push my face away from her. And she did the same thing to her mom. And then here recently, because, like, I can't handle the crying, so I figure out what she needs every time she cries. And so here recently, she like, it took her about 5 days, and then she kind of imprinted on me. Like, finally, when I grabbed her head and put my face on her face to comfort her, she didn't just push me away like I was attacking her worse. She actually, I actually saw the whole thought process go through her brain. Like, she did it, and then she pulled herself away, and then she looked at me for a second, and then she leaned forward to do it. And I was thrown off, like, what? She just did it to me? And then she leaned back and thought about it for a second. And then literally, like, I felt like I was going to get headbutt like a whole bruise on my forehead. She did it so hard the next time. But it's so crazy. And I think that, like, you know, people do need to understand that these babies, like, they're literally just learning communication, and by leaving them there and not comforting them, they, you know, they're going to end up one of these sad people in our world that we are trying to help not be sad anymore through the power of music.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
I am glad that I got to take the time to chat with you and help tell your
sure.
story and a little bit of your journey and get to know you as an artist. It's really cool. It sounds like you guys have a pretty strong hold on what you want and how to get it. And I think good things are going to come out of it. And I'm glad that I was here, part of the journey. We'd pop your cherry down here in Texas.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be a lot of fun getting down there. You know, we have a song I just released about 2 weeks ago called Whiskey Business. That's the one I want people to go listen to so we can pump up them Spotify numbers, you know, and we actually co-released a music video with it. So although it's not on Spotify, I haven't quite worked out how to get music videos on Spotify, but it's on the video is on Apple Music and YouTube and all these other places. So good stuff.
Awesome. Well, if you want to send your originals to us, TexasBrewRadio@gmail.com, send them MP3 with a cover photo and a bio, and we'll get them up there on the station.
Awesome. That would be super cool.
All right.
Is there a
we look forward to plugging in.
Send people so they can go watch this later, or is this just
it's right on our Facebook.
Okay.
It's right on our Facebook with it's right. It's on Texas Brew Radio Facebook. It's on Texas State Songwriters Championship Facebook. And it's on my personal Facebook as well. But just look up Texas Brew Radio and they'll be able to find it. And then also I thought
it was going to be on like the radio station, and so
on the actual.
Yeah, I was like, hey, go listen to,
I saw that. And you made me a co-host, so I went and put in, hey, please click that link and listen to the station, but we're going to be right here live on Facebook. And then I sent out a bunch of invites to that event you created too.
I've gotten more than a few messages during this interview of people saying, how come I don't hear you on the radio? So as soon as we're done, I got to do a little damage control, I guess you could call it. No big deal.
Yeah, just be like, psych. She did it. It will be on the radio someday. I'm saving all the audio files, but I'm actually going to create a page on TexasStateSongwriters.com, and it's going to be TexasStateSongwriters.com/interviews. And then, so I'll take these files and throw them on our YouTube. That way I can put them up on our website, and then it'll just be on there for all the interviews that we've done.
Where in Texas are you located?
All right. I am in Wichita Falls, Texas, northern Texas by the Oklahoma border. And then my events are down in Fort Worth Stockyards.
Okay. Yeah, send some people my information, or send their information to me. I'll try to see what I can do about getting booked down there, and maybe we can hang out, meet face to face sometime.
Heck yeah. Well, I will get you some of that information. I'm going to go ahead and log off this slide. You guys, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you check us out, TexasStateSongwriters.com/Texas Brew Radio, RHETT You're going to be sure to look him up. He's going to be making his way down here to party with a Southern crowd here very soon.